Hi everyone, thank you for watching today. My name is Catherine Lopez, and today I'm joined by Carlos Flores, Giselle Fernandez, Tara Cruz, and America Edmond. Together we are the Dream Team, and today we're going to be discussing a topic that has been controversial for years, mostly the past few years rather than before. Today we're going to be discussing dress codes. Dress codes more specifically in elementary schools, junior high schools, and high schools. But
Let's do that one more time.
Okay.
That was good, but it's right at the top. That's an easy fix.
Okay.
Right, let's run through it one
Let me
more
just
time.
think what I'm saying.
Then we're good.
More so.
And then whenever you're ready.
Okay. Me too. All right. Okay. Ready? Okay.
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay. Hi everyone, thank you for watching today. My name is Catherine Lopez, and today I'm joined by Carlos Flores, Giselle Fernandez, Tara Cruz, and America Edmond, and together we are the Dream Team. Today we're going to be discussing a topic that's been pretty controversial, more so in the past few years than before. We're going to be discussing dress codes. More specifically, dress codes in elementary schools, junior high schools, and high schools, but we'll also be talking about just dress codes in general. To begin, I'm going to open the discussion with a few stories from personal experiences or just stories that have been in the news. Carlos, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so what I personally think about dress coding for high school, I think that we're at a certain age where we're starting to learn who we are and what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the perfect ways is just, people dress a certain way just to express themselves. It shows their personality. It shows, just who they are in general. So for high school, I think that it shouldn't be a problem because, like I said, we're still figuring out who we are. We're in a stage where we're learning what we want to do and what we want to do with our life. Now for elementary, I think that they should take it easy on the dress coding. Like for now, I'm seeing girls like 8th, 7th, 6th grade, they're wearing like tight shirts or like high shorts and everything. And I think just for elementary, I think they shouldn't do that just because, they're still kids.
Yeah.
And, I know when I was little, girls, they wouldn't be wearing that. They'd be wearing jeans and loose shirt or jacket. But now, the way I'm seeing it, we can see that the generation from back then and from now has totally changed. And I think that just elementary, parents should just watch what kids are buying, or they should just watch what they're buying their kids.
Yeah.
Because I know if I was a parent and if I saw my daughter wearing that, I'm not going to let her going out wearing a tight shirt or, a high skirt. But that's just, like kids. Now for us, high school, we're learning, so I understand that they're going through a process. So, I don't really got a problem with that. But, I mean, if they're going to be wearing that, like, every day, then that's a problem. But for high school, I think that they should just, just wear whatever they want. Just express themselves.
Okay. Thank you, Carlos. What about you, Giselle?
Well, I actually went to Hercules High School, and there was this boy who was going through his transition to becoming a female. And he would start wearing, like, short skirts and, like, crop tops and all that stuff. And, like, the teachers would never dress code him because it was kind of like a touchy subject. But then when I would wear, like, the same type of stuff, they would always say something. But, like, they would never say anything to him. And I just thought that was, like, double standards.
Oh, wow. Definitely. What about you, Tara?
I feel like there's always been a double standard between, men and women and, girls and boys, whether that be in high school, elementary, or, yeah. Whether that be in high school or elementary school. And, I feel like I don't understand why, there's dress codes in place of things like, your collarbones showing, or maybe I understand midriff because, like, you don't need to see someone's stomach. Maybe that's just too much. But I never understood, like, why I would get dress coded if I wore, like, something that was, like, this thick instead of, like, this thick, It's just, like, I just didn't understand it. And I still don't understand it because it's just, like, why? I feel like people always said stuff like, oh, you're you're going to get the wrong attention, or, you know, boys are going to be staring too hard, like, it's a collarbone, like, it's not that serious, you know? So I've always just felt like there's always been double standards with dress code. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Now, America, I know you have a story to tell.
Yeah, I have a story. I want to go beyond high school and middle school and elementary school, as Carlos was saying. So it happened here at the school. And I think, first of all, dress code has a lot to do with our personal way to express ourselves. So sometimes we are unaware, unaware of what we are wearing and why. So let me tell you about my story. That's what I bring. This garment is right here, and you can read the message. Tara, can you read it, please?
Be kind to animals or I will kill you. Rocket Dog Rescue.
So, if you hear this message is I think is powerful, but I'm an animals lover, and as a part of a funding activity, I get this garment from one of my friends. So the thing is, one of my classmates at the end of music class, he came to me and he said, "Are you aware of what you are wearing today?" So I said, "What?" And he said, "You know what are you wearing today? This is a negative message." So I was totally surprised, and I never expect that I was receiving a ban for a classmate, because I can expect this from a staff member or for any policymaker at the school, but not for a classmate. And he said, "You need to be aware what are you wearing, because it disrupt the class and it distract me from the class." So I was thinking about it. I get home and I was meditating. The next day I asked to my English teacher, "What do you think about it?" And she said, "Because it's the school environment, I think you shouldn't wear this. But in my personal opinion, I think they are limiting me to my freedom of speech according to the First Amendment. Because dress code is something that we use to express ourselves. So it doesn't matter about our age or about your social condition. That's significant. So a dress code is, there's a way to communicate how we are. So I think it's ridiculous in our days, like Terra said, to ban someone because he's showing the bone color or the shoulder. I think there will be another ways to maybe improve the rules. So I don't know, but I feel really bad when my classmate banned me to use this. But finally, I can tell you that for a little while I didn't wear it, but this semester I wear it again. Thank you.
Yeah, to add on to that, I had personal experience. I went to Vanden High School, and we all had this one teacher who I won't say his name just for privacy reasons, but everybody knew him as like the dress code teacher. You could be wearing shorts that were basketball shorts and you were revealing too much of your ankles. It was dress coded. And everybody seemed to think that it was more so towards girls because you never saw him dress coding guys. So I think that kind of ties back into the double standards that some of my classmates have been talking about. So I wanted to ask a question about that. I know, Carlos, you said as far as elementary school goes, you wouldn't buy your daughter stuff like that. You wouldn't do that. What about if it was your son? How would you go about that?
Like wearing
Like, you know, you wouldn't buy your daughter short skirts. You wouldn't buy your daughter like too tight things. Would you have like a same kind of standard for a son regarding certain garments, or?
in my view, no, I don't think so. Just because he's a guy, so you know he could wear I mean, guys wear whatever they want. But I feel like they target more on girls because, you know, like I say, guys are always watching them, what they wear, and it could make them uncomfortable. But I mean, I'm not saying that girls are weak or anything, but, you know, I guess I just feel like they are trying to limit what girls wear just because, you know, they don't know what type of guy is looking at them or could target them, so.
Okay. Anybody else have any feelings on anything they'd like to discuss?
In high school, you know, people would always get dress coded. Well, when I was younger, like maybe like my freshman/sophomore year, people would get dress coded for wearing leggings and whatnot. But it's funny because, you know, most of the times the girls who would get dress coded are the ones, you know, with maybe more developed bodies, or girls who were like a little bit had more meat on their bones or something. I don't really know how to say it, but you know what I mean. Basically, like, I just never understood that because, like, the people who, you know, are dress coding, you know, whether that be, you know, the teachers or whatnot, they should all make things equal. They should look at everybody the same. You know, I feel like it was always different. Like say people were getting dress coded for too short of shorts, but you have two girls in the same situation, and they have different body types, but one would get dress coded over the other, and they're like the same shorts, the same length and everything, you know? So it's just, I've seen a lot of that, and it was always like, but what about them? But, you know, they just didn't care, so.
I think that brings a good point too, because I know in my junior high school, I believe there was a length, whereas when you're standing up, your shorts have to be no shorter than your fingertips reaching down. But then you always had the taller girls who had like the longer arms, and what length measured was pretty much shorter than what people with like shorter arms measured, and the other way around sometimes. So I think you kind of have to, even in that sense, if it is an equal rule, still it kind of does add on to what you're saying.
Right.
So yeah. Anybody else have anything to say?
I would like to say that dress codes are very important in a way. When we become aware of the importance of wearing a dress code, is because also we belong to a society, and sometimes we need to be considered to others. So in a way, this is something that we need to think about it, because we will be future employees, and we need to be aware too that at the workplace we need a dress code. So dress code can go from person who is naked, you know what is going on here in San Francisco Bay Area, to totally cover. In our days, we can see a lot of controversy about this topic, but I think we should consider to get a balance between what we want to wear and how to get in harmony with others, because as in my story, this disturbs someone else. So my right is to wear wherever I want because it's my right according to the First Amendment. But in the other hand, how about my classmate rights?
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't want to.
So we need to get a balance between what I want to express or what I want to wear to feel happy or comfortable, and thinking about the others too.
Mm-hmm.
So the right on there to be peaceful and to come to the education center to learn.
Adding on to that, I know you were talking about having respect for other people's opinions and
Yeah.
stuff, but do you all think that there's a line between taking their thoughts into consideration or things like that based on their excuses for it? Like, I know Tara V's talked about, like, oh, it's too distracting, oh, it's too much, oh, it's too that. So do you think there's a line between taking theirs into consideration and them not doing the same for you? Like, whether or not, you know, I'm comfortable showing my shoulder, but you're offended by it. So where do you kind of find the balance between that, do you think?
I feel like that's really the person's issue that has the problem, because why should me, you know, living my everyday life, you know, dressing how I want to, I'm not showing too much skin, I'm covering up the parts that should be covered up. and not offend someone, well, that's not my problem if someone else has a problem with me, wearing my shoulders, showing my shoulders or showing my collarbones. That's their problem. We should have like set simple guidelines of, don't show, cover up the things that need to be covered up, but, and, try to respect other people, with what you're wearing. But sometimes it's like you're not going to please everybody. You can never please everyone. Someone is always going to have a problem with something, so.
Do any of you think that the cause of somebody being offended can be brought down to the way they were brought up by any chance? Or do you think it's just something you learn over time? Like, what do you think sparks that offensive bone in their body, pretty much?
I just think now people are too sensitive nowadays. I just feel like they don't really have a backbone. Like I said, dressing is like how you're expressing yourself. Like you're gonna see, for example, you're gonna see somebody wearing a shirt of Kaepernick kneeling down, and they're gonna get, offensive. It's just a shirt. It's not bothering you. Honestly, in my point of view, if that or if anything else bothering you, then you just gotta check your life for something. Because if it's the shirt, image, or whatever, if that's really offensive to you, you gotta just rethink what you're thinking. Because I don't find that offensive.
Yeah, I feel like anybody should be able to wear what they want. Like, I feel like dress code is specifically more for girls, and like they look at like girls and they think, oh, that's inappropriate. But if like a guy's walking down the street with no shirt on, they won't say nothing, and then they'll basically judge you off their first impression, and basically that's what they see you wearing, and they make assumptions off that without even knowing the person. So I feel like they're just judging and making assumptions.
So this is an open question to all of you. Do you think that dress codes should still remain a thing? Would you make edits to dress codes, or would you just ban it in general? Let's start with America.
I think we do. I think we live in a society that it has a lot to do with the cultural component.
Mm-hmm.
So Carlos was telling about how I feel offended. So I think we should have dress code that is different to wear a uniform. But Terra said follow a guideline. In my opinion, we should have a dress code. Because what is offensive for you is not offensive for me.
Mm-hmm.
Dress code is something that is necessary. It's necessary, but I don't know, it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. And the personal choices are based on a lot of components like religion, culture, belief. But in our days, with the harassment, news, and the things that are going on, I think we should have a dress code.
Okay. What about you, Tara?
How about you come back to me? Because I really got to think about this. It's hard.
No problem. What about you, Giselle?
I feel like in the workplace we should have, because that's more like a professional setting. But if we're like just going to school or like stuff like that, we should be able to wear whatever we want in public, because I mean, it's our choice. But in the workplace, I feel like you should, because it's more a professional, and they're more judgmental there. So I feel like there needs to be a dress code there. But anywhere else, I don't feel that you should.
Okay. What about you, Carlos?
Yeah, I have to say the same thing. For high school in general and workplace, for workplace I feel like you should wear dress code because, like she said, it's more professional. For high school, like I've been saying, people are still learning who they are, so, let them wear what they want to express themselves.
Okay. You think you're ready, Tara?
Actually, like, going off of what Giselle said, I think, we should have dress codes for, places like in the workplace because of it being a professional environment. However, we should also have dress code guidelines. I would say more guidelines because, like, in high school, in college, in elementary school, we shouldn't be able to be wearing shirts that say, that promote hatred and in violence and stuff like that. I feel like that should be, watched. Like, we shouldn't be able to just have things that say like F this race, or just like things that are promoting hatred. But stuff like showing your collarbones and midriff, if you have high-waisted pants and you show this much skin, it's not that deep, and we shouldn't have a dress code for that.
So what do you all feel about the, I want to say excuse, or the reason people say that, I'm going to say people in general, not just females, they're asking for attention. They're asking for some type of act by the way they're wearing. How do y'all feel about that?
So, I have something to say.
I was waiting for it.
Like I said earlier, what you wear, you can express yourself that way. Like, if I choose to, go out with my friends and I go to the club and I'm wearing something more revealing and I'm looking like cute and all my friends are looking cute, and that doesn't mean that I'm asking for someone else to invade my rights and invade my personal space. I don't know those people. How those people feel about what I'm wearing, that's their problem. And there's, as people, we have this wonderful thing called self-control. People say like, oh, she's asking for it, why would you be surprised if you were drunk and, what you were wearing and how you were acting? Oh, she's totally asking for it. Unless someone says, I want to sleep with you, like, and they really mean it, no one is asking for it. Clothes don't speak for you. If we had to make our clothes speak for us, we would be freaking walking around with crazy stuff on our body to try to explain what we wanted. Like, oh, I want some food. I'm gonna wear some food. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how people could even justify, rape, or justify rape culture by essentially, when you're saying, she's asking for it, you're justifying rape culture.
What about you, Giselle?
What was the question?
No, it's okay. How do you feel about people using the excuse like, oh, they're asking for it by the way they're dressed?
Can you come back to me?
Yeah. What about you, Carlos?
I'd have to agree with Tara too. Just because girls wear, what they want doesn't necessarily mean that they're asking for it. Sometimes they just want to wear it because it looks good. It looks good on them. And like she said, unless they're really saying that they are showing, like they want you or something like that, then that's a whole different story. But I just feel like they just want to wear it just because it looks nice. It looks good. So if I see something that I like, I'm gonna wear it. So I can understand their view.
As a male going through like elementary school, middle school, and all that, did you ever feel or see like other males or yourself going through like certain dress coding situations? You kind of have to like sit back and just kind of watch.
I mean, the only dress code that we ever got was pulling our pants up. That's the only thing that we had to worry about. Other than that, that's the only problem that we had, just to pull our pants up. And you see the girls wearing, I see them getting dress code like every day. So me as a guy, I can't really say that much for girls because we didn't really go through that. I mean, unless we wear like a shirt that has like a half naked girl, then then they'll tell us to flip your shirt upside down or like go get a PE shirt, something like that. But for us, that's all we had to worry about, just pulling our pants up. So.
Okay, interesting. Do you have anything, America?
Sometimes I wear like you say to acting out, but let's go back to the point that dress code is about what you not wear. It's about, like you said, a guideline. Dress codes are designed to tell you what you choose not to wear. So, but in a way, it's acting out too, because if they limit your expression to your clothes or to your style, wherever, your fashion, if they are limiting you by a guidelines, it's something that they are violating your rights. They are telling you why you are not allowed to wear. So I remember reading about President Bill Clinton in, I think, 1987, when he introduced a proposal to say that all at the schools need to wear uniform in order to avoid, uh, in order to avoid a lot of risky situation and to improve the safety in our schools. But no one supports this. So as I can tell you again, this is a personal choice. But I insist that we need to follow guidelines. So I don't think dress codes should be imposed, but I think there is something that needs to be to guide us how to wear in order to keep the peace in the environment, the school environment.
Okay.
I was gonna say, if we didn't have like dress codes, like people could just be showing up in like bras and underwear, to be honest. So we need like little guidelines, but we don't need the strict dress codes that we have.
It kind of brings up a point too, because we have dress codes to tell you what not to wear and tell you what you can't wear, but then I'm pretty sure anyone sees, especially in college, you see people showing up in pajamas and slippers. Like, if you kind of think about it, what's the difference? You have your dress code of what to wear when you go to sleep. It's like some people think it's a sloppy look. Some people just wake up in the morning, they brush their teeth if you're lucky, and they put your hair up and you come to school. Well, what's kind of the difference between that and then wearing something that you'd wear, like you guys were saying? Do you guys think that would kind of imply that there too as well, or is it more so towards like revealing things?
Well, that's what I love about college. People could express themselves however they choose. If you want to wear pajamas to school, that's great. And if I had a problem with it, it doesn't matter if I have a problem with it, because is it necessarily bothering me? Like, is it really like harming me? And I feel like that's what we should really start thinking about when these dress codes are being put in place, or these guidelines. Is it going to harm somebody else? Is that really going to bother someone else? Is seeing someone in pajamas at school really going to harm someone else? No, it's not.
Okay.
But how about at the school when some member of the staff said, okay, maybe the school spirit leader, somewhere tomorrow is pajama day. And then everybody's wearing pajama.
Right.
Everybody. It's a different situation, I know. But I think coming to the school wearing a sleeping wear, I think it's not.
You're not
It's
feeling
not.
it?
It doesn't do well. So it doesn't go with our principles of being a successful professional tomorrow.
That makes
Okay.
sense. Sorry, I keep on cutting you off. 'Cause
No,
I was
go
just
ahead.
thinking about this. I feel like not a lot of reasons, but reasons why people, or schools have dress codes and whatnot, it's not even necessarily because like something is bothering someone, or we really need to have these rules. I think it's also because of what will parents think, what will people with the money think, what will other people look at view our school if they see the girls wearing little short crop tops and shorts. Will we look bad? Like, I feel like that's why people have dress codes, because they want to look like the best schools. They want to look like, oh, the girls there are, super duper classy, and like I feel like they really just care what other people think, and that's why they're in place.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to ask you, Carlos, and I'm going to ask you, Giselle, do you think that, I know personally growing up when somebody told me, you can't do this, you can't do that, they put restrictions on me, the instinct in me made me want to do it more. Do you think that putting dress codes on people will make them want to act out more, or do you think that maybe the dress code violation, so to say, would go down if they were to take the dress code away?
I feel like that it should be taken away from schools for the most part. I mean, you should be able to wear what you want, and I don't think there should be a dress code to it. And I feel like girls are going to wear what they want anyway. I mean, they're at a young age, both boys and girls, so it's not going to make them do it more, but if they're already doing it, they're just going to continue doing it.
Okay.
Then I agree too. Like, I feel like the more strict they're gonna do it, the more people are just gonna wear what they want. Because, like I said, it's just strict rules. They don't really care. They want to express themselves. So I just feel like the more rules they're gonna put on, the more they're just gonna break them. Because, it's just rules. They want to wear what they want to wear.
Okay. Thank you. I know another big issue we have been talking about is how dressing, the way you dress, clothing, style, and everything is a form of nonverbal communication. What do you guys think about that?
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think the way we wear is telling a lot about our personalities. It's a communication. It's another communication way. We have different kind of communication, and this is one of it. And now in our days, I want to bring up a topic that maybe is more controversial. I want to bring here to this discussion table the gender issue, because in our days, their gender identity has to do a lot with the way that we wear. You can Google and you can read a lot about this topic, but dress code has to do with gender identity. I don't know, you guys, you have noticed that some of our partners or classmates, they wear according what they believe or whichever gender identity they feel inside. And I think this is something that we can see it in the positive way and in a no so positive way. Let me tell you why. Because in my opinion, there's people that they can be open to discover like personal preferences, but they do through the wear that they clothes. It's not just about gender identity, about musical preferences, about philosophy, and you can see messages about how you think about any topic. But communication through clothing is something that is real, and it's a way to communicate our thoughts, our beliefs. And again, the cultural component is implicit here. But the other day I was reading about a little girl, 13 years old, in a high school, that she was wearing something that identified her with the group LBTG. So there were a group that was against to this preference, and they wait for her and they hit her at the school. So sometimes dress code can be really risky in our schools. And this is real, but again, I think there should be a guide that not imposed and not so strict like Carlos and Giselle and telling them, but there should be something that give us the limitation and the boundary.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, America.
You're welcome.
Anybody else want to say anything real quick? Nothing? All right. Well, I think it's very clear that dress codes are a controversial issue, and they will continue to be a controversial issue for many years to come until something comes to it. But that is all the time we do have today, so thank you all for watching. Again, I'm Catherine Lopez. This is Carlos, Giselle, Tara, and America, and we are the Dream Team. Thanks for watching. I forgot your name. I'm
forgot
sorry.
my name.
I
Come
was
on
like,
now.
I was going to say America and then Tara.